Hey everyone, welcome back to the Book Cave with me, Jenny. So today I have a reading vlog about authors that are new to me. So I have 3 books, one of which I've already started and was actually started in another video, but that is Elle Kennedy's The Charlie Method. And as I said then, yes, this is book 3 in a series number 3, and I haven't read any of the others, but they're supposed to be relatively standalone, and so far it kind of is. I just did a little bit of research, honestly, just reading the blurbs at the backs of the other books from Goodreads, and figured out who a lot of the characters are, and that was kind of fun to see. But yeah, so that is the first one and the one that I started. Then I have Can't Spell Treason Without T. Yes, I'm finally going to read a book that is on my TBR in one of these non-wrap-up videos. Of course, I've never read anything by Rebecca Thorne before, and I'm definitely looking forward to this, and I love the little, blue sprayed edges. I'm really excited to get into this and just see if I like it. And then the final book I'm going to read is The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. And this is, I believe, like a historic fiction. Okay, it starts in 1972, and then kind of goes back in time from there, I believe. So yeah, I'm definitely interested to get into all 3 of these and let you know what I think. And I'm going to go ahead and start with a few thoughts, if I can keep everything from falling here, on the Charlie Method. So in my What I Read in a Week video that I started this, I read up to page 100, and that is where I'm still at right now. I have not read any more as of right now. But we meet all the characters, and I feel like we're getting kind of like a good feel for them. And I do like that we can see the messages between them, and nobody knows 100% who they all are, because they don't use, Charlie is Charlotte, but she uses Charlie on the dating site and does not have a picture of her face. And the same with the guys. We have Will Larson, who goes by Lars, and then Beckett Dune, who I believe he just goes by D, I think. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, no, he goes by B, sorry. So B for Beckett. And I just think it's kind of funny to, we see them interact both on the site and then in their classes. And the fact that she has a class with each of these boys, and you see her reaction to them there, and their reaction to her, and just especially her and Beckett. I love the kind of teasing that they have. I just absolutely love that. So yeah, I'm definitely interested to get further into this and see what I think, see if I do enjoy Elle Kennedy and want to read more. Hey everyone, welcome. So the second book I decided to read out of the 3 I picked was The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. And right now I have about 60 pages, exactly 60 pages into it. And I didn't realize that this was it's a historic fiction within a historic fiction. So we start out in 19 1872. And then we get what's going on there a little bit. And then we go back in time 50 years, I think it is. Or perhaps it is 47 years. So, yeah, I wasn't expecting that. And so far, we've kind of just been in that 47 years before, other than the prologue. And I am definitely finding this interesting character-wise. I do feel like plot-wise, it's just kind of these characters living their life in Chicken Hill and just kind of dealing with the prejudices that were around in the early 1900s. But I feel like where this is really going to shine is the characters. So we have Moshi and Chona, and then we have Addie and her husband Nate, and we also have a young boy named Dodo, and we just now have a new character called Malachi. And yeah, all the ways that they're interacting are very interesting and have me wondering where exactly is everything going to wind up. So yeah, so far I could definitely recommend it if you like character-driven stories. So I made it to about halfway in the Heaven and Earth grocery store, page 166. And I have to say, this has definitely taken a turn. Once you get through part 1, I feel like it gets a lot more bleak. I mean, the first half was pretty bleak as well, but I feel like this second half has even more bleakness in there, and I just kind of had to stop for a little bit after that chapter because, yeah, it was just very, very sad. And that is chapter 12 and 13, just are both very sad. They are both also, though, still really good character studies. That is where this book has been absolutely outstanding, is in the character studies. I love all the characters. They feel very well fleshed out. I finished the Heaven and Earth grocery store, and yeah, this is definitely mostly a character study, and it delves into some really deep topics, especially once you get through part 2 and part 3. Like, they both deal with some very heavy stuff, and I find it interesting as well. From reading the introduction, the prologue, I felt like Malachi was going to be a much bigger driving force in this story, but in all honesty, he really wasn't there. And then, as for Moshi and Chona, they were there, but only in the first half, and I feel like, yeah, this just kind of shows community and understanding both, like, the limitations and how it can all come together. And plus, just, yeah, it was very emotional. And there was times in here that my heart absolutely broke. And the very ending was like, yeah, I just don't really have words for it, honestly. And I can definitely recommend it. You know, it shows a portrait of a time here in America that honestly isn't that far off, and the ways that it affected people, and just, yeah, what it had to say, I felt like was very deep. I finished The Heaven and so I'm about 300 pages into the Charlie Method now, and to be honest, it really kind of took me this long to get into it. I feel like the first little bit of it is kind of almost more YA, even though this is a college romance and it definitely has adult situations. I just feel like some of the interactions feel a little more YA, if that makes sense, and like the characters tend to be a little unsure of themselves. And I just felt like it also had a lot to do with like classes. But now we're finally getting some character development, some character ideas and conflicts. So this follows Charlotte Charlie Kingston, Will Larson, and Beckett Doone. So they each have kind of like an issue going on. Charlie is adopted, and she doesn't quite feel like she fits in with her family, and she feels guilty about that because her family's always been good to her. And you have some stuff going on with that. She finds out that she has some biological family, and there's some tension there. Then Will has some tension with his father because his father's a politician, and he feels like he's just trying to use him. And then Beckett and his parents moved to America from Australia, and his dad now has an offer to go back. His dad wants to go back. His mom doesn't. His mom has made a home here in America and doesn't want to leave it. But both Beckett and his father kind of do. They both miss Australia. And so this kind of dives into all that. And I feel like I said, now that we're further in and these conflicts have been a little better developed, that it's starting to get more interesting. Now, I did not realize when I picked this up that it was going to be about all three of them. So, yeah, that part I'm not super into, but, you know, it kind of is what it is. So, yeah, I'm going to try to finish this and let you all know. So, I'm about 300 pages. So, I finished the Charlie Method, and to be honest, this took me, let's see, about 8 months to finish. I started it in March, and it's now October. And to be quite honest, that last update I did on this before this one was just a couple days ago. I finished the last few hundred pages in just a couple days. So obviously it picks up more right about page 300. Like, we do get some of Charlie, Will, and Beckett's issues in the first little bit, but I feel like they really start to hit in that last part of the book. However, I also feel like all of these issues were cleared up very easily, very quickly, and there wasn't a whole lot like said about it, to be honest. And yeah, so I mean, while it's not a horrible book, it's not the worst book I've ever read. Not a great start for this being the first Elle Kennedy book that I've read. I do think I want to at least try the first two in this Campus Diary series, which is the Graham Effect and the Dixon Rule, just to see if I like those two any better. And then if I do, I might try her other two series that go with this, which is Briar U, and I believe the other one is Off Campus. But yeah, this just kind of read very young to me in like certain parts, in the relationships that at least Charlie and Will kind of had with their parents. They're 23, 24 in this. Like, it just, I don't know, it just felt kind of weird. You've been in college for 3.5, 4 years. Like, they all live in the dorms. None of them live with their parents. You've had that separation, and just, yeah, it just felt really weird to me overall, and really, honestly, I said kind of young, despite this definitely not being a young adult book. Like, yeah, it's definitely a college romance. It has the spicy scenes, and I did feel like they could all be skipped without really missing anything. At least, you know, other than maybe a little teeny tiny bit of them. But yeah, I gave this 2.5 stars. So yeah, definitely not a great continuation to this, trying new authors. But I'm going to try out You Can't Spell Treason Without T next, and hopefully I have a better experience with that. So I finished the Charlie. I've gotten about 80 pages into Can't Spell Treason Without T, and so far I feel like this is a pretty good introduction to the characters. We just kind of jump right in to learning about them and learning about the world, and I really like their idea of the bookstore / tea shop. I think that's super cute. However, one issue I had is that we have Raina and Kianthe. Raina, because she is a Queen's Guard, cannot give her name because of reasons, so she goes by Sia while they're looking in this town and everything. So they make a new friend, and Mathilde, and she tells Mathilde to call her Sia. And then a couple lines later, Mathilde calls her Raina. And I'm not sure if that's going to like come back later, or if that was just something missed in editing or something like that. And a lot of times when they're out in public as well, Kianthe will call her Rain, which, I mean, is true, not her whole name, but it's obviously quite different than Sia as well. So I just feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect there. But other than that, I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying the writing and the world building with, you know, learning that there's this magic and kind of where it comes from. But so far, it's just kind of sweet and simple, which makes sense. This is a cozy fantasy that does have perhaps a bit of action. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to get further into it and see what I fully think about it. But so far, everything is looking good. I made it to page 180 in Can't Spell Treason Without T, and the issues I had earlier in the book with, like, Raina having her name said around other people, that has stopped. So I am glad for that. It seems like it was just those, like, 2-time slips. And I do like as well, we're getting to see a lot more of her and Kianthe interacting now and kind of, like, learning their place in the community and making friends and all that. And we're also getting more of the magic system. And yeah, so far it is really fun. I've seen a lot of people say that this is like low stakes. It kind of is, but at the same time, there are still some pretty high stakes. They're not like worldwide or realm-wide, but for the little small town that they're in, it's a big deal for them. And for any town that that happened to, it would be a big deal. And yeah, I'm just really, like I said, still enjoying this. It is very cozy and everything. It is definitely very reminiscent of the Spell Shop series, which, by the way, has a third book coming out in July, I believe, of 2026. I'm super excited for that. Just a little aside if you liked those or if you like cozy fantasy. But yeah, I'm hoping I can finish this pretty soon because, you know, that's all I have left. Not a whole lot. But yeah, I'm going to finish this and let you all know. I made it to page 180 in Can't Spell Treason. I finished Can't Spell Treason without T, and I did enjoy this. I thought it was cute, and it did have enough stakes in there that I felt invested in it, and I felt like the characters were all pretty well fleshed out, and we got some pretty fun parts in here. So, overall, I do think I would read more from all three of these authors, although I'm definitely more excited for some more than others. But yes, this is everything I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know down in the comments, have you read any of these books, or have you read anything by these authors? Who are some new authors you would like to try out in the coming year? I always love hearing from y'all in the comments, of course. And don't forget to like and subscribe so that you'll be notified anytime I post a new video. And I will see you next time in the book cave.